64. It's an 8 by 8 grid.
And welcome to the Mind Your Movies podcast. I'm Ryan,
I'm Shane.
and today we're talking about two movies that we picked for each other for our birthdays. So Shane and I both have birthdays that come up around this time of year. And so we decided, hey, we'll do like a birthday swap for movies.
Yep, we each picked a movie that the other one had not seen, and we'll see how it went. The name we
Yeah.
did, I picked Computer Chess. Ryan picked The Life of Chuck. Title of the episode, Computer Chuck. I think that works.
It's great.
So yeah, I feel like we just get into it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about both movies. We're gonna have a spoiler discussion for both. I mean, we should start with Computer Chess because of the title. Should we start with Life of Chuck because it's more widely seen and we're going to get into spoilers for both movies? Or should we just do Computer Chess due to the portmanteau tradition?
That's an interesting thought. Yeah, we don't usually have to think too much about it because usually we pick movies that are relatively either neither of them have been seen very much or they both have. So
Yeah.
um also interesting, this is not one of our full episodes. So on our full episodes,
Yes.
if y'all follow along with us, you know that we usually do like a whole spiel at the beginning about other stuff we've seen lately. That's because we have like a 2 week span there. Um,
Yeah.
and also we just have a lot more time to work with in those longer episodes.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do that this time. So make sure you jump
No.
in next week. Next week, we're talking about movies based on TV shows that we haven't seen the TV shows for. So we'll get to our reveals for those towards the end of the episode, but stay tuned for that. That'll be a fun reveal, I think.
Yeah. We'll announce our movies for next week at the end. But what an incredibly niche topic. Movies
Yeah.
based on a TV show that we have not seen the TV show.
Yeah, it's pretty weird, but I'm
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down. So yeah, do you want to start with Life of Chuck? Or I know you probably want to start with Life of Chuck. You're the Life of Chuck fanatic.
Sure. Yeah, we can start there. I guess that makes sense. That way, if people are just jumping in and they haven't they've only seen one of these, it's probably the Life of Chuck, I suppose. So it is newer and stuff. So yeah, and
Yeah,
maybe
I
maybe
will
we'll
say
snag someone that's just seen it. So
computer. Yeah, that's true. Computer chess is also so strange that I don't know if you can spoil it. It's just a bunch of nerds being nerds over at a hotel, and that's kind of the whole. There's not that much to spoil. There's a little bit at the end that you can spoil.
I was gonna say I could spoil something, but
Yeah, that's fair. There is at the very end. There's a thing you can
yeah,
spoil, but it's a pretty aimless, vibey movie. But anyway, yeah. Well, let's do Life of Chuck first. Why not?
nice. Cool. Yeah, this is an interesting one. This is based on a novella by Stephen King, and it's directed by Mike Flanagan. But it's not a horror movie. It's really just a movie that follows the life of a guy. His name is Chuck. You'd never guess it.
Sorta. It
Sort of.
has horror elements. It has. There's definitely a horror element later on in the movie. I
Yeah,
feel
there's
like,
like a
or
little bit
like,
of supernatural element, maybe.
yeah, there's like a Stephen King, like, oh, he's throwing some sauce on there. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean? He's putting like the mild sauce on the burrito.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
it
it's
starts
not like Diablo sauce. It's nothing crazy.
right, right.
It's mild.
And it's weird because it also starts with like a mystery in the beginning, right? So it starts with like a world ending, what's going on type of thing. And so it's told in these three separate parts. And of course, like if you've seen any of the marketing for the movie, Tom Hiddleston is like all over the marketing. And
He's the
is
titular Chuck.
he is, but only for a very small section of the movie.
Yeah.
And so that middle section, Act Two, has him, of course, but then Act One kind of focuses on some other stuff, and it's not entirely clear right away how that's connected, maybe. But then Act
Well,
Three, you're getting a little bit younger Chuck, and so
Act Three is technically first. It's in reverse chronological order. So it's like Act Three is the first third, then Act Two, then Act One is at the end, which is like Chuck's childhood.
true, 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 yes.
But
So
so it's kind of confusing. But yeah, I know what you
yeah,
mean.
yeah, yeah. And so it's kind of so anyway, so it starts with that mystery stuff. And so maybe we could just go through kind of in the order that it's presented and just talk about like act one, then talk about act two and act three. I
Sure.
mean, that might be the
I
easiest way.
think
It's a weird
also
movie, so
it's worth noting. This is basically Ryan's favorite movie of all time. It came out less than a year ago, and he's seen it, I think, 6 times.
yeah, I've watched it now
I look
6 times.
I
Yeah.
looked on your letterboxd. I stalked your letterboxd and I saw because you can go to your stats. You can go
Yeah.
to like people's stats page, and you've seen it 6 times in less than a year. So
Yeah,
this
there is a
has to be considered your favorite movie.
there, it's yeah, there's a little bit of a story behind why I've seen it so many times, which is really not that exciting. But one, so when it premiered in TIFF in 2024, I was really excited. I was like, "Whoa, that's cool! I'm looking forward to that." Right. So I had it on my radar, and then it was like premiering um in theaters in a few weeks, but there was like a mystery movie night at my theater, and it's always a little bit early. So I was like, I bet you this is going to be Life of Chuck. So I went to go see it, and it was, which was cool.
Uh,
And then what happened? And then I went and I saw it with someone. Or no, you know what I did is I read the short story. I hadn't read it before, and then I rewatched it after reading the short story.
there you go.
And then what happened though is I got it gifted to me. I got like a special collector's edition gifted to me for Christmas. So I
There
watched
you
it
go.
in 4K, and then I watched it with the commentary. And then I just had my birthday, so I had a big party, and we watched The Life of Chuck for that. So I've seen it so many times, but for some reason, well, you know what too is I've just had a good time showing it to people. I showed it to some friends when I went to Pennsylvania, and I showed it to my fiance, and so um, yeah, I don't know. You know what? I'm making all these excuses. I do like the movie. It's great. It is probably it's definitely my favorite newish movie, right? In the last probably in the whole century of the 21st century. But it is tough to say if this is like I don't like this better than 2001 or The Shining, but I think I've seen it
Okay.
more times because it's also newer. Like people haven't really heard of it, so I'm like, oh, let me show
Yeah.
you this cool movie.
Right.
So, but yeah, so I mean, favorite of all time is tough, but it's definitely like in my top five of all time.
There we go.
So
So
yeah,
I've never seen The Life of Chuck, and now I have to talk to Ryan about The Life of Chuck. And
yeah.
I didn't like The Life of Chuck. I'll just say I'm not gonna rain on anyone's parade. I'm
Hmm.
not gonna poo-poo the platter. I'm not gonna, uh, I don't know. I don't have anything else. But yeah, I'm not gonna ruin it. But there were a few like filmmaking choices that I feel like didn't work for me. I don't know. And I think I was like mainly the first third of the movie, and then also there's this voiceover throughout the whole movie. And both of those didn't work as well for me. So then I feel like I wasn't as invested in the rest of the movie but I think the childhood uh aspect of the movie was probably the strongest part with little whatever he is he like 13 or something, 14-year-old Chuck maybe,
Yeah, middle
or
school.
yeah, 12, whatever he is. I feel like that was the probably the best part of the movie, but it, it was just so much toward the end of the movie that I wasn't as invested, you know what I mean?
Mm.
So 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 yeah, I don't know. It was The Life of Chuck. I've seen it now. The monkey's off my back.
Yeah, that's interesting though. I mean, honestly, I think even when I saw it the first time, I'll say I liked it right away the first time, like pretty much
Hmm.
the entire thing. But I do think the like mystery of the first part was actually maybe my favorite. The
Oh, okay.
first time watching it, and um, I think that first section. So this first section, it's presented as we're actually following like a teacher, an astronomy teacher. It's not Chuck, and
Yeah.
there's
Chiwetel
also
Ejiofor.
yes, and so there's this also this like why are we following this guy? We know this movie's supposed to be about Chuck, right? And we get weird allusions to Chuck in like billboards and even in like skywriting with a plane at one
Hmm.
point. So, but we're really following this teacher as he's trying to reunite with his uh like ex-wife when the world is ending. And that's kind of the setup for the first section here, act 3.
Yeah.
Um
This
Yeah, so
part I thought was interesting. The book, the novella, was published in like April of 2020. So it was written before COVID, but it felt very, I don't know if is the this section of the novella very similar to the movie or is it like different at all?
yeah, so the novella is very similar overall, including the first section.
Okay. Because like it felt very COVID, just the way I don't know, like the opening third was everything was kind of sparsely populated and like kind of it didn't seem apocalyptic. You don't see any of the apocalyptic things happening. You just hear people talk about them or you see them on the news. And like
Hmm.
it felt very like COVID coded. Uh and obviously there's like climate change elements, but then also the guy's like, it's not climate change, this is bigger than that or whatever. But yeah, I feel like it was kind of weird the way it was like, I don't know. There was no sense of like, I didn't feel like a sense of scale of the apocalyptic elements of it, which I think as you like learn what's going on, it kind of makes more sense why that's happening, I guess, kind of. Not really, but okay. But
Mm.
yeah. So I feel like, I don't know. There's a lot of monologuing, a lot of people explaining what's happening. I feel like I wanted to see more of it rather than just have people talk at me about what was happening. So I feel like that was a big reason why I didn't love the first act. But it is like it's got a little weird and like it definitely piques your interest of like what is going on. So because with the toward the end of the first act, there's the chucks in the window and all the weird. That's very strange when that happens. So yeah, it's yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I do think it's interesting that like, I think usually with like disaster movies, right? Because this first section is really kind of a little contained disaster movie, but there's really no disastering because like, you think of like, I don't know, 2012 or something, right? Or
well yeah,
whatever, right? And you're following like somebody as all these disasters are happening around them. And yeah, like you said, you really don't actually see any of it. It's really like partly because we're so isolated in this one guy, right? We're like, I mean, I guess it like brings up an interesting question of like, if the world's going to shit like that, like what will we actually what will you actually experience, right? Like I don't know, right?
yeah,
Um,
right. It's not there's not an earthquake in every corner of the planet.
yeah. And also like the scale of things is really strange because it talks about like all of California has like fallen into the ocean at one point,
Yeah.
and like a volcano went off in Germany, and like
Yeah.
things that like really don't make any sense, right?
Yeah. And then it's like totally normal and wherever that is this set in a particular place? Is it like I think it was shot in Alabama, I saw.
Yeah. But I don't think it says where it's supposed to be.
It's kind of just any town USA, basically.
Yeah.
They all have very nice houses.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. These are well-paid teachers.
um
But it's all like this so I feel like this also all a lot of it doesn't make sense, but then when you understand. I mean, we're gonna spoil the movie. We can just
yeah,
spoil the
yeah.
whole movie, right? So
Yeah.
spoiler warning if anyone hasn't, whatever. I mean, we're gonna spoil the whole thing right now. So if you haven't seen Life of Chuck and you don't want to know the spoilers, then get out of here. But like this is all in his head when he's dying. I think
Yeah.
that's what's happening, right?
Yeah, it's definitely what I think is implied. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like none of it is real. It's all just kind of uh like, this whole thing didn't really work for me because I'm like, so there's like this like fictional universe with all these characters that like the teacher that he like interacted with in eighth grade is like there's like a fictional world inside of his head with all these people like living alternative lives inside of his head. It was kind of it's a an out there idea.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think it's also interesting that in this universe there's no Ginny is his wife's name. Ginny's not in it. His
Yes,
son's not in it. Um
his
his
grandparents, his parents.
Yeah, and all these people that he's actually like close to and cares a lot about, right? It's all the people like on the periphery, right? It's not even like his teacher. It's like his the astronomy teacher that was at the school that he walks by every day, and like the uh
The little girl who's rollerblading, he just sees one time.
yeah, and like
Like,
it's
yeah.
these people that are like definitely on the periphery of his life, but not the people that like actually mean a lot to him. And so the idea, I think, is that like, our brains pick up on these things and it like fills in. And so like when you dream or something, right? Like there's this, I don't know, I've heard this idea before that like we actually can't make up faces. Like our brains can't make up faces. I think that sounds like baloney to me, to be honest, but whatever. Um, but I think the idea there is that like
I'm kind of I think I'm trying to make up a face right now.
yeah.
I'm kind of he looks kind of fucked up though. He doesn't look like a normal face. It looks like a face that's like been like run over by a car a little bit. It's hard for me to imagine a fake face. You see what I'm
Yeah, there's a lot to break down there with you imagining. No, but
No, like the
no, I know what
nose.
you mean. Yeah,
It's hard to just imagine a neutral person
yeah,
without imagining someone that you've seen before.
yeah. And so I think so. I've heard this idea before, and I think that's supposed to maybe. I think like part of that is in play here, where it's like when we're dreaming or whatever, right? Like there's this whole thing going on in our head that's like, everything's normal, but also at the same time, it doesn't really make any sense at times, right? Um, and so I think that like, you know, uh that's kind of part of this is that like the reason things don't always make sense and all this and that things can be really weird is that yeah, it's just kind of like a big coma dream or something. I don't know, right? Or like this
Mm.
universe that's evolved in his head or something. But like, um, all and like they say, they quote Walt Whitman's um poem where he says, you contain multitudes, and the teacher at one point explains to him like, everything, everyone that you've ever encountered and stuff is in your head, like lives in your head, right? Um, so I
But
think
they're
it,
not,
yeah,
they don't live in my head. They live in the world. It's just my impression of them. That was my. I was like, I feel like the multitudes he's talking about is more that people are complicated and contradictory and like contain all sorts of different three-dimensional. We're all three-dimensional and stuff like that. But then I feel
mm,
like the movie interprets it as like there's a weird universe where people live inside your head or something. I think the idea of it being a dream maybe makes more sense to me of like, okay, this is what he's dreaming as like as he's about to die. Maybe. I guess that makes more sense to me, but yeah, the I contain multitudes thing, I was like, I don't even know if I like agree with that interpretation of the poem. I feel like it's kind of a weird way of interpreting it.
yeah, I think it definitely is a strange, like it's not an interpretation that I think people would have thought of before. Like it's a very like King type interpretation, right? Um, uh, yeah,
I guess.
but yeah,
I'm
I don't
not
know. I
that
mean,
familiar with Stephen King.
ah,
I haven't read any Stephen King. I have a Stephen King book that I want to read. I haven't read it yet, but it's right over in the other room. I can read it at any time, but I haven't read it yet. So I've seen some movie. I've seen The Shining, which he hates. So
there's an interesting distinction between the novella and
hmm,
the movie here is actually that there's a lot of little details in that first act or the act three, right? The thing that we see first
hmm.
that you actually notice later in the movie, right? Like the watch that the main character is wearing is actually the watch that Chuck gets um from his grandfather, and like the car is his grandfather's car, and um
The lock at the in Chiwetel Ejiofor's house is the
mm-mm.
same lock from his grandfather's attic.
Right. And there's all these tiny little things that and even with the people, um, you know, uh not all of them, like Matthew Lillard isn't ever seen again and stuff, but a lot of the people in that early section you notice later on, right? And like in his real life. And it's an interesting distinction that in the novella, there's really none of that illusion of like these are people separate. Like or rather like these are people that are like these are things and people that are from Chuck's life, right? There, I mean, there might have been like small things that I didn't pick up on, but for the most part, it's definitely not as heavily alluded to that these are all like things from his life, which I think is really interesting. I think that the way that Flanagan went with this, where it's more implied that that's the case, makes sense based on this adaptation or this interpretation of that like Walt Whitman quote, right? But um, it is interesting that in the novella, there's really not as much like assumption that these are all things that are, uh, he's previously seen or been exposed to and stuff,
Huh.
uh, which is just a small little thing. But I think,
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
just
but it's
interesting.
in the book, it's still sort of supposed to be his in his head as he's dying, sort of a thing.
Yeah, totally. I think
Yeah.
that's the main conceit. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
And yeah, I mean, I think whether you interpret that, like, I think there's like very valid interpretations. That's just like coma dream, right? Like he's in a coma, right? He's dying of cancer, a brain cancer. So like, I think is this just a dream, like a coma, right? He's on probably all sorts of medicine, and also he has a brain tumor, like
Hmm.
coma dream or something, right? I don't know.
Hmm.
I think like that probably makes a lot more sense than it being like a world that's built up over these many years, right?
Yeah, I think I kind of had it think was thinking of that of like it being this world inside of his head kind of a thing. And I was like, that doesn't really make any sense. But I think it being a dream makes more sense to me, I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Of he's sort of just pulling these random things from throughout his life and creating this world. And I guess it's like apocalyptic because he's about to die, so that makes sense. That is the connection. But yeah.
Yeah. Like actually before we were recording, you asked if there's the quote where they say that Pornhub is down. And
Yeah, it's like that was when his libido like died. He's because
yeah.
he's in the process of dying, and it's like, oh, his libido just died or something. And that's why Pornhub is down.
Yeah. And I've seen like people
Which was
draw
just a
to
stupid joke, but yeah.
no, yeah, but I have seen like people online like draw to specific moments in that section where they're like, it's this stage of something or whatever, right? Or blah blah. But
Mm.
and like because also like that there's a point when Matthew Lillard in the movie is like talking about things that have happened in the past in that universe. And people are like, this must have been because of this thing, right? Or whatever. Happening like through the course of the cancer. But like that I don't know. Like to me, it also does make more sense that it is just a dream. Like, it's like this is the last stage of his life. What's happening to him? It would be a really boring movie if we just watched him lay in bed dying, right? Like, so like seeing what he's actually imagining, what's going on in his head makes more sense. Um, to me, totally. But I don't know. I mean, I find it interesting that there is that other interpretation that like this is a universe that's somehow been built up, but uh it also yeah it's definitely more out there, but also like King is pretty out there, so like at times, so like that could make
Yeah,
sense that that's what he intended, but
I think it could make sense as like the all the things going on are him sort of slowly deteriorating. Basically, it's like he's deteriorating in this world in his head or whatever. He is. It's the world is falling apart kind of a thing. And then yeah, yeah. So I don't know. It was just like there are interesting themes and stuff, and you can read into it and and all that. But just on like a filmmaking level, I found it kind of like a lot of just people talking at me, and so I just didn't love it, and I was kind of like had no idea what was going on. All of a sudden, Mars is popping out. It just pops out like a I don't know, like a cartoon or something, or I don't know. It just like pops out of existence. It's like, well, Mars just went. I was like, what is going on? But but yeah, I guess it's all a dream. So there's it's not supposed to be realistic, obviously. But yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I mean that's fair though. I think the yeah, I guess the talking stuff, like to me, I was just kind of enthralled by it, but
Hmm.
I can see, I mean, it is like a lot of talking, I guess, but yeah, I think like I was totally sold for it. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I was enthralled certainly in that first section of like Also it helps that Matthew Lillard, I fucking love him. I think he's great. And I think he really sells that performance. He's only in for like one scene. They did that in
Mhm.
like two shots or like two takes, and he just like nails it, right? And he's one of many people in this movie who are like came to like shoot for like a day amidst a bunch of like strikes and stuff, just because like they enjoy Mike working with Mike Flanagan and stuff. So it's also cool, I think, that like dude, Mike Flanagan must rock for like all these like a bunch of actors. This is something that he talks about a little bit in the documentary. Not that he rocks, but talking about how so many people were so generous with their time and like willing to do
So
all this.
the documentary, is this a like special feature on the Blu-ray?
Sorry, the commentary. Yeah.
Oh, commentary. Gotcha.
Um, and yeah, which is kind of cool. And also like Tom Hiddleston was there for a long time, but
Mm.
it's only there for pretty much like one real main scene, which is a big dance scene. Um,
Mm.
which is pretty interesting.
Yeah. Also, Chiwetel Ejiofor's character is named Marty Anderson, and Mr. Anderson from The Matrix. They also call him Mr. Anderson at one point, and he's sort of in this Matrix-like universe, I guess, could be the connection. And then not it's not prom, but whatever, the dance toward the end of the movie from Chuck's childhood was a Back to the Future
Yes.
uh themed dance, and he's named Marty. Perhaps he's not actually named Marty, and he's just Marty McFly, and he just threw it in there, or maybe it's just a reference to it. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. His name is Marty Anderson.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good. I didn't even think of that. I didn't think of the Matrix part. I did think of the Marty McFly part just because the dance later on.
Yeah,
But
it's kind of clear, like you can see it in uh the decorations at the dance, but also like the whatever, the girl that he wants to dance with, her date is like dressed like Marty McFly too.
yeah, yeah. Also, the dancing in this movie is all choreographed by Mandy Moore, who not the actress, but the choreographer, who also choreographed La La Land, probably some other stuff, but also the Eras tour. Um,
Wow.
so any Swifties out there, just a little tidbit for you.
There you go. I will say this movie I almost straight up hated The Life of Chuck.
Wow.
Almost. This is what almost set me over the edge. I was actually like, what the fuck is this movie doing? Because I thought they were gonna have it so that this little ass white dweeb Chuck invented the moonwalk. He he starts moonwalking, and everyone's like, "What's that? Oh my goodness, what?" And everyone's like, very, you know, enthralled by his moonwalk. And then I was like, I thought they were gonna. I don't know if this. I thought they're. I don't know if this was before any of the Back to the Future stuff, but I was like, they're gonna like Back to the Future this, where like this white kid just invented a, like taking credit for a contribution to culture by a black man, and this white kid's just gonna be like, yeah, actually that was me, and then as they're walking away, I there is voiceover. I don't know if it was like it kind of sounded like ADR, so I don't know whatever. He's like, they're like, how'd you do that? He's like, I rewinded the tape a bunch of times and figured it out or something like that. And I was like, okay, so Michael Jackson exists. He invented the moonwalk. Chuck is just a swagged out white boy who figured it out in like whatever 1986 or whenever this is supposed to be set. But I thought they were going there, and I almost was like, fuck the Life of Chuck. But then they didn't, and I was like, all right, Life of Chuck, I'm back.
Good. I'm also glad it didn't go that way. That would have been pretty weird.
That would have been egregious. That would have
Yeah.
been like what the fuck are you doing? But anyway, I don't know. It did make me like, if they went that direction, I was like, that's horrible. What are you doing? Like it's also because like it's such an common like critique of Back to the Future. Like, wait a minute. So this white kid went back in time and created rock and roll. That for someone to actually do that unironically in a movie and like 40 years later would be insane. But they didn't. So it was
Yeah.
this was all in my head. This is not an actual critique of the movie. It was just kind of a fun, I don't know. It was just my experience with the movie. I was like, dang. So yeah. Anyway, Chuck did not invent the moonwalk, so that was good.
Yeah. That is good. That would have been annoying. Um, but
Exactly.
Chuck does, and so this is this is an interesting piece of the second two acts. The second act is really just almost entirely this dance scene with Tom
Yes.
Hiddleston and Annalise Brasso, um, who are again wonderfully choreographed. Also, both actors are like classically trained dancers, which is cool. Um, but anyways, and that's like the majority of that second act. And at first, it might be a little like confusing, and like there's also a little bit of like when I've watched this with people before, some people are like, "Oh, why is he so weird to that girl? Like, why is he dancing with a girl?" Right? Like, it's like one like chill, uh, but two, the I think there is like a valid like why is dancing so important to him type of thing going on there. And then we get that more explored in the final segment.
Mm.
And I think it's fascinating that, like, if you are thinking about this as like also like this is like acts two and one or whatever, right? Are like, his life flashing before his eyes or something, right? Like the things he's experiencing, the things that are like most important in those final moments for him are like related to dancing, right? Like that's his most important outlet in his life. Partly because obviously like it comes from his grandmother and like there's that link there. But yeah, it's interesting, like these really important moments to him just center around this thing that like to a lot of people today, it's like I don't know, dancing, right? Like I can't dance. Why would I care, right? But yeah, like everyone I think probably has something like that where like when you think back, like what would be the thing that you're thinking? This is rhetorical, but like, what would be the thing that people would think back to for themselves of like, that's those are the moments, right? Like those when I'm doing that thing, right? That's the moment, right?
Mm.
So I think that
Yeah.
was something that like really hit with me was just that idea of there being this one thing that kind of links so many parts of his life.
Mm. Yeah. I get that. Yeah, I guess I was kind of just, I don't know if I thought of it as him remembering back on his life. I didn't really think of it in that way. May also like he has a wife and a kid, and we kind of like learn nothing about them at all. So it's kind of strange. But we just see him like next to him in his bed, or is on his deathbed, and that's kind of it. We never see them interact or like we don't see. I don't know. I don't know. Kind of weird. But
Yeah.
yeah. Not that that's like a problem with the movie really, but it's kind of like I don't know. Like I don't know that I actually know that much about Chuck. I guess I know about his childhood quite a lot, but I don't know that much about. I guess he's just an accountant, and they're like, "All right, he's an accountant. He has a wife. He has a kid. That's all you need to know." Yeah,
Yeah. 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 I mean, I think,
and then
yeah, like I guess it can make you wonder like why is his wife and kid not more prevalent, right? And I think that's an interesting question. I think like the movie's very intentional probably on like not having them be more prevalent. And so I guess the question is like, what is it because like they're literally there with him in those final moments, right? Like they're sitting at his bedside. I don't know. But
maybe he's just Stephen King just hates his wife and his children. Oh, sorry, Stephen
uh
King. Maybe he's just like they're not important. This is what's really important
yeah, that could
is
totally be
dancing.
it. Yeah.
But I thought when it went back and there was the girl that he liked dancing with when he was a kid, I thought that was gonna become his wife, but they're like different. They have different names, so it's
Yeah.
not really. That's kind of where I thought it was going, and then it wasn't. Um, so yeah, and then there's I don't know if we're done with the second act. There's second act. I don't know. It's like mainly one day,
Yeah.
pretty much. It's just one day. There's the girl drumming. I will say this is the sequence where the voiceover. I don't think I've mentioned the voiceover. There's voiceover pretty much throughout the entire movie, and the voiceover I generally didn't like. I found it like and this is kind of the thing with the beginning too, of just explaining a lot. And it was kind of over explaining a lot of things. And I just found the voiceover. I feel like if you took out all the voiceover, it would probably be better than having the voiceover in, just for me personally. So and I feel like in this second act, it was kind of like there was a lot of voiceover, like describing, like, while she's setting up the drums, it's like describing all this stuff, which probably comes from the novel, I imagine, and it's kind of a novelistic like device, but I feel like it just doesn't work as well in the context of a movie for me. Yeah, but I get also he's probably Mike Flanagan loves the book and wanting to keep all that prose in there somehow. Um, but it just kind of didn't work for me. And this like second act was where it was most like overbearing, I think, in sometimes. Um, but yeah, like the girl playing the drums was that was cool. And then it also felt a little like surreal in a way. Like he starts dancing and then all this crowd comes around and there's like no one behind them. It's like the streets are completely empty except them dancing in the crowd. So maybe it is sort of a memory where it's this idealized, dreamlike version of this memory of the whatever, the maybe it's like the last good day in his life or something because he has the headaches and stuff like that. I don't know. But so yeah, maybe it is also supposed to be not depicting reality. It's depicting like his memory of this day. But yeah. So then that's pretty much it. He talks to the girl, the redheaded
Yeah.
girl, and then they kind of are like, are they gonna kiss? Is there gonna be a romance or something? And then they kind of just go their separate ways, I think. And then we're on to the third part of the movie, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, the I definitely interpret it definitely as like memories, right?
Hmm.
Um like you said, it does feel a little surreal. Like even the lighting and everything kind of seems a little just not quite real, you know?
Yeah. It almost looks not to be too derogatory to this movie, but the dance sequence almost looks like a commercial for like an Apple like phone or something where it's like everything's bright and like they're dancing and I guess it could also be that this is a dreamlike thing and it's an idealized version, so that's why everything is sort of bright and unrealistic.
mhm.
Everything is heightened.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely how I interpret it, right? Is like
Hmm.
these are kind of like the things he thinks back to, right? The memories
Hmm.
that he uh thinks of, right? And yeah, it is interesting, that again that they're all linked from an act or like a doing of a thing, right? Like a hobby, like yeah, something that he enjoyed and not like people, right? They're not like obviously there's a lot of his grandparents in here, but like a lot of this is so again just heavily connected to uh his enjoyment with dancing and that as like an outlet for him.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, definitely. And it does connect him like with his grandparents, and we learn about his parents like death in the was a car crash, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So it kind of all connects with him dancing with his grandmother and all that. So yeah. And then well, yeah, anyway. Do you have any thoughts on the voiceover? I'm sure you like the voiceover.
Yeah, I like it. You are
Yeah.
right that it pretty much comes right out of the novella. It's
Hmm.
I think like there's like direct passage, and I read the novella after watching this for the first time. I didn't see this after reading it,
Yeah.
and so there's like paragraphs where I'm like, yeah, Nick Offerman literally just says this, and
Yeah.
to me, I liked that. I thought it was great. I think the prose is really good, and I think especially in that. See, it's interesting because in that second section, I think so much of the voiceover is just like interesting detail that like would be really boring just to watch, right? Like the little details of like the shoes he's wearing and like the little details of like or the funny details of like her getting broken up with and stuff and like little things that like if that section, I think for me if the voiceover was removed from that section, it would feel very to me it'd feel very boring. I think there would just wouldn't be enough stuff going on for me. Like yeah, I don't know. For me, I think it
Hmm.
definitely helps there because there's actually very little going on in that section. And so having the really nice prose kind of explain a few things, and at times like joke about some stuff, and at times be really serious, like with the like there's one quote that's like later he'll lose the ability to walk and crap and stuff, and it's like
Mm.
talking about this, you know, unimaginable pain that he's going to go through,
Yeah.
and that stuff to me hit pretty well, I think. But yeah,
Yeah, I get that. That makes sense. But yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I have anything else to say about the second act.
yeah. That second act short, second act
Yeah.
short.
Yes. Yeah. The first act, which is the final third of the movie, is this is like I feel like where the movie kind of worked the best for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um and it's but I don't know, like the first two acts almost feel like it almost feels like I could have just watched this final act slash act one as like its own thing without the first couple segments, and it kind of could have worked on its own as like its own like story, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But obviously that would be make it probably a more conventional like way of telling the story. And it would be a totally different movie, I guess. But I don't know. This was just the part that worked the best for me.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad. I definitely like this part. I like the prom dance and the build up to that and everything. Also, just the strong emotional connection with his grandparents.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, Mia Sarah is like back. This is like her first performance in like over 10 years or something.
yeah,
And yeah, I don't know that I've really seen her in much besides Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I didn't even recognize it was her at first until I like looked at the cast afterwards and I was like, "Oh, that was Mia Sarah. That's crazy." But she was really great as his uh Chuck's grandmother, and Mark Hamill is also very good as his very troubled grandfather. Um, and then this is where we get the most Stephen Kingy stuff, I feel like.
yeah, yeah. This is, so there's kind of this locked room, the cupola in the family house. And once we realize it's a cupola too, it's like thinking back to because you see that exact same staircase and hallway in the teacher's house in the first act, the final act, whatever. And it's interesting that geometry would obvious that would make no sense because you see the outside of the house and there's no cupola, right? But
Right.
anyways, but so there's that cupola and he's never allowed in there. And we slowly get a little bit of information that like the grandfather has seen some ghosts up there or whatever, and whatever, and
He
there's allusions to like maybe he's seen things before they were ghosts, right? Like he's seen people
he's
before they
seen
died.
visions of people's deaths,
Yeah.
basically,
And
is what we find out by the end.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we find out that, he's, he actually sees the grandmother's death from her falling trying to get bread and having some sort of cardiac attack or something, I think. And his own death, he's grabbing his arm, and we see that later on.
Yeah.
And eventually Chuck, when he's leaving the house, he ends up looking in there, and he sees himself in the hospital bed that he dies in later on, much older, and looks even much older than 39, which is how old he is, but at the
Yeah.
end. But um, and he kind of makes the statement to himself that he's not gonna let that change his life. He's gonna just do the things he wants to do and live it as he can, right? And there's
Yeah.
there's quotes like Mark Hamill at one point says, the waiting's the hardest part,
Yeah.
right? And so yeah, that's definitely the Stephen King stuff here. We got the supernatural element. Uh
Yes. Right. And yeah, it's definitely about like coping with the inevitability of death and our mortality, and like you kind of see the contrast of Mark Hamill's character being like so haunted. Well, he's not really, for most of the movie it's about his wife's inevitable death that he's like, so that's why he's like an alcoholic and uh kind of just he's not coping with it well, basically. And Chuck is a lot more he handles it a lot better, and that's kind of the dancing, I guess, is like still having that joy uh in the face of mortality and stuff, I guess.
yeah. Well, and also, right, like think back to the scenes that he remembers in his life, right? It's like there's this one big dance sequence when he's like 30 something, 38 or 39 or something. And then it's like all when he's a kid, right? And so, he's gone into accounting and he's kind of put dancing away, right? They mentioned that he had like a band for a little while in college, but largely he's not
Right.
dancing, right? And so it's kind of sad thinking that, when he looks back, he really has like this one core memory in his adult life. And then so much from when he's younger because he's learning dancing and doing it much more. And I think there's kind of a warning here of like, um, kind of you never know, right? Because he sees this image of himself, but that Chuck does not look 39, right? Like I doubt that he knew that he was going to die at 39.
Hmm.
Um, so like you never know when things could go wrong, right? You should do the things that you want to do when you can, right? Like not just one time when there's a busker out there, right? Like I think
Hmm.
this is almost a warning that like, hey, dance, do your thing.
Hmm. I can't. I see that. I see that. I can't imagine this guy wasn't dancing with his wife. He got married. He's probably go. I mean, he's probably dancing. I mean, maybe he's not. I don't know. I
No,
guess that's in
I
the story. But I imagine this guy was dancing. He's dancing all the time.
I think they imply that he's not. I think they say, he when they say like, oh, we could do this forever or whatever, he's like, no. I mean, he pretty much says that he doesn't dance. So that much.
I guess so. But yeah, I mean, you can be an accountant who dances.
I know, and I think the
I guess he
movie's saying
doesn't.
that you
Yeah.
should, right? Like,
Yeah.
don't let yourself have that one memory, right?
Mm.
So
I guess. Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. I'm
not
just like
that
this guy wasn't. He wasn't dancing at his own wedding.
yeah, I think that is an interesting thing, uh as some folks that follow us might know, I'm preparing for a wedding. So I have thought about this a few times watching this where I'm like, why is the first dance not here? And I don't have a good, I don't know, right? That is interesting.
You think Chuck maybe I mean I don't feel like they don't make it clear ever that he doesn't like dancing. Like it's like he's a kid, he loves dancing, and then when he's an adult, he loves dancing. So it's like not I guess when his grandparents die, did I miss something that they're like he's depressed and he swore to never dance again or something. Yeah.
Well, I think because like his grandfather warns him to like, focus on the math, focus on the counting.
Right.
And I think once he gets into adult life, he kind of, you know, our hobbies are much harder to find time for, right? When we're like paying bills and we have kids and all these things. And so I think it's not that he doesn't love dancing. I think he just doesn't do it, right? Like he doesn't have the time for it or something.
Mm,
That's how I interpret it.
I get that. But they just I guess so. They never I kind of interpreted Chuck, and maybe this is the second part is sort of this idealized dream version of him. Like he's never seems like a depressed guy. Like you never get the vibe of like Office Space where he's like, "Oh, I hate my white collar job. I'm depressed and I'm in the stuck in a rut." You know, he seems kind of like a joyous guy throughout.
I mean, when his grandfather's telling him about math, right? He's like, pretty not into it until the grandfather's talking about like, how do you think we know the stars and how do you think we know the dance, right? It's the count, 1 2 3, blah blah, right? But he's like, why do I have to do math stuff, right? And the grandfather's essentially like, listen, you got to pay your bills, right? Dancing's not going to do that. So
Hmm.
I don't know if he's like depressed, but definitely like maybe sold on capitalism, right? Like sucked into the capitalistic life that we all live, where you just have to go in for your 9 to 5, right? You gotta,
Hmm.
it's gonna suck all the fucking life out of you no matter what. Like,
Yeah, but yeah, I guess so. I guess we just never see that because we skip straight from him being a kid to him being a guy dancing in the street. So I never got a sense of him being uh like depressed, you know, living a boring 9 to 5 lifestyle.
yeah,
But I guess that's implied.
yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't know. I think to me, I definitely assumed that like dancing seemed like it was missing for him,
Hmm.
whether that's because he's depressed or just because like he doesn't have the time for it. Right. I mean, like you don't have to be depressed to not do your hobbies, you know? Um,
Right. I guess I'm just a little bit like, it's dancing. You can dance for 5 minutes any day of the week.
and you should. That's the
Well,
thing.
I don't like to dance.
No, but not you. You don't dance.
Chuck,
You
but
know.
Chuck, but I'm saying there's no barrier to entry for dancing. You put on a song and you dance. Like the grandmother is dancing in the kitchen. And I guess she's not dancing when she's depressed because her child has died. But then she's just dancing while she's cooking. She like there's no barrier to entry on dancing. It's not like he's a ski jumper, you know?
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. I think that is a good point, but I think also like both his parents, both his grandparents are now dead. You know, like he's yeah, I don't know. I think you lose time for stuff. Like I get that it only takes a few minutes, but also like I mean, if your hobby's reading, are you going to come home every single day and read for 5 minutes?
You could
You could, but I don't know if you're
five
always going to do
minutes.
that, right?
You can make it part of your routine. Get it in
Yeah.
there every day.
Yeah.
I've been going through. I've been reading the Bible at least one chapter every day.
Nice.
I'm sticking to it, and I'll probably be done in like 2 or 3 years. Because at first I was like, at first I was like, I'll read a few chapters a day, and then I started. Now I'll read another book. So now I'm reading this, and I'm reading some other book because I'm not just gonna only read the Bible for multiple like a year, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'll read like a comic book, and then I'm like, so now it's just like one chapter a day, and there's like 1,300 chapters or something like that, and I'm like, wow, if I actually do one a day, this is gonna take a long time. But then it's like part of a daily routine, and
Yeah.
so I kind of like the idea of it being a daily thing. It's like, hey, if you like reading, like read a chapter a day, and just set it so you're like, all right, I'm gonna read at least a chapter a day, and then if that's your hobby or whatever the case is. I mean, that's the thing. Some hobbies are more
Yeah.
difficult than others,
No, I
and
get
some
that.
probably bring. I would imagine dancing brings a. I don't know. No, reading can bring a lot of fulfillment and joy in different ways. It's just a
Totally.
little maybe less. I feel like it's a less ecstatic, experience than dancing, perhaps. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I write and read every day, right? I have been doing that now for since last summer, which is nice, right? But like I had to like make myself start doing that,
Right.
like and I think this year for me at work it's been a lot smoother. Um
Hmm. Also, we don't have children. He has a
yes.
child.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
could be a factor in, but you think just dance with your kid. Teach your
Yeah.
kid how to dance.
I totally see what you're saying. Um, but I think that's kind of the point of the movie is to say like you should do this. The thing that is dancing for you should make the time for it, right? Do it with
Yeah,
your kid, do it with your wife, do it every day, do it, whatever, do it more because you don't want to look back at the end
right,
and wish that you did, right?
right. Instead of scrolling on some app, but replace that with a better hobby, which I should also follow that advice. But but yeah, to replace a little bit of that with something that's more fulfilling for you.
Yeah, right. And that's the thing too, is like is reading as fulfilling as dancing? Who know? I mean, like, I think to everyone it's different, right? Like,
Yeah,
I trip over my own fucking feet every time I look at a dance floor. So like dancing is really not that fulfilling to me. But
right,
writing is very fulfilling to me, right? I get to like create something, right? And so I think to everyone, you've got your own little fulfillment. And maybe you
right,
don't know it, not to you, but like to anyone out there, maybe you don't know what that is yet. But like, don't let yourself just be the accountant, right? Find that thing.
right.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Go out, touch some grass,
Yeah.
go on a walk, go on a hike,
Hmm.
go swimming. That
Yeah.
could be a thing. That could be good. These are all probably things I should do more.
Yeah. Dude, I
And
listen.
also, spring's coming. This is the thing. Also, we're in New England, so we
Yeah.
get a limited period of time where we're able to touch grass because otherwise it's covered in snow.
The outdoor ones are harsh here. That's why, like, you know
Yeah,
what? That's why some of the best horror media comes out of New England because everyone's locked the fuck up for like Also, yeah, I just watched
And
the Noah Khan documentary. It's like that's what like his music is so fucking sad and shit. All this good
I,
shit that's like sad and scary and depressing comes out of New England because it's like you're just locked up for half the year.
it's all you're locked in a snow. You're snowed in. I also watched the Noah Khan documentary. Also, big Noah Khan. I was at the Fenway the second he did 2 days or whatever. I was at one of those shows. I
Oh,
wasn't in
that's
the
awesome.
document. I wasn't in the documentary. Maybe if you really zoomed in, maybe I was like half a pixel in like one of the wide shots, but you can't see me in any of it. I was looking.
That's awesome. I went to
Yeah.
the Boston. I saw him at Boston Calling. That's the only reason we went to
Hmm.
Boston Calling. So and he was with the Lumineers, and that was super cool. But and then he played
Nice.
with the Lumineers too for a song or two. So
Nice. Yeah, I also enjoyed that documentary. It was good. It
yeah, hell
was
yeah,
it was more like poignant and personal than I feel like a lot of like musician documentaries, which I guess
Mhm.
makes sense with his music being very personal and like kind of just like everything wearing his emotions and his experiences on his sleeve. It kind of matches that where it's very open. And it kind of gets into that too, how that the double-edged sword of that of being like that. But
Yeah,
I also like that. It's on Netflix if anyone wants to watch it. So what's it called? Noah Khan Out of Body?
out of body. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
So that's cool. I think he
Um,
has a new album coming out. Actually, when this episode comes out, I think it's like tomorrow.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that'd be cool. But yeah, and so I think the movie is saying like find those things, and also to that point, right? I don't think the movie's necessarily implying this as hard as I'm about to say it, but do that shit with your partner, right? And with your siblings or your parents or like whoever's around, right? Like
Hmm.
uh, you know, I enjoy reading quite a bit, and so does my sibling, and so now we have like a reading club, right? And Shane and I, we both enjoy movies, so now we just get online, we talk about movies, right?
There we go.
Like like in the movie, right? There's really no moments when he's looking back and thinking about his wife or his kid. Again,
Yeah.
not I think you can interpret that however you want, but I think my interpretation is kind of that he regrets not doing his things, his hobby, right? His dancing with them more, right? Um,
Hmm.
and maybe he did a little, right? The first dance, right? Whatever. But yeah, I think that's anyways. So yeah, that's my little ramble. I don't know. I'm rambling at this point, but yeah, I
No,
like
I
this
get
movie.
it. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, I'm glad it's like it connects with you and everything. Yeah. I also enjoyed parts of it and stuff. It was just some parts didn't really work for me. But
Yeah.
and all the stuff you're saying I agree with and everything, but I didn't like feel the character of Chuck as like I guess it's very implied.
Mm.
And so like you can interpret it that way if you like, but then also I don't know. We don't really see a lot of that in the movie. It kind of just skips from childhood to death. So it kind of skips the middle part. Uh, so it's kind of up to interpretation, I guess. Uh, but yeah, also I feel like the kid performance was pretty good.
Yeah,
Playing little
absolutely.
kid Chuck, and then Jacob Tremblay playing like 17-year-old Chuck or whatever.
Yeah.
They were very good. Didn't even recognize that was Jacob Tremblay until
Yeah.
literally right before we started recording.
Also, the youngest kid, the one that you see for only a minute there, when it's he's first like becoming I guess adopted by the grandparents.
It's like a kind of a montage almost like when
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But that's actually that's Mike Flanagan's kid.
Oh,
So
okay.
you
There you
see him
go.
for a brief moment, but that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Uh yeah, he didn't invent the moonwalks, thank goodness, Would have been tragic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad the movie, connects with you. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry it didn't connect as much. I was I think this has been in a way this has been kind of my go-to recommendation for people lately. Like I said, that's kind of why I've seen it so many times. And so I thought it'd be a good one to suggest for the birthday, but you know what? They're not all
I will say, the hype for Life of Chuck has never been higher than interacting with Ryan. Like this
Yeah.
movie is like it's been I'm like this is gonna be I don't even know what the example is. This is supposed to be the greatest movie of all time. So it was a little like the expectations were quite high.
Yeah. It is interesting. Again, this movie, I've seen it so many times, partly because it's become this thing in my life where everyone knows that I like it. So I've shown it to people and I got it.
Right.
I got the nice collector's edition as a gift. And so, like, it is interesting to think, like, if I watched it that first time, I liked it a lot. Would I have, like, I'm on this hill at this point with this movie. I have to die on it. I
No,
do love it. I think it's a great movie, and it's definitely my favorite movie of last year. It's definitely in my list of like at least top 20. But I do also think it actually does get better with rewatches. So for
yeah.
me, I think partly because it's become this thing in my life and everyone knows I like it, so I've been able to show it to people and stuff. It's definitely risen up because I also have like good experiences watching it with more people and stuff. But it is funny to think like in isolation, if I just watched this movie and never told anyone about it or whatever, uh, you know,
Be an alternate universe.
yeah, I do. I will say I probably do overhype this movie because I've had so many positive experiences with it after seeing it the first time. So
Yeah.
that
And
can impact it, of course.
yeah, that makes sense. And I feel like the more you see a movie, usually like it will kind of well, actually, ironically, we're going to talk about computer chess. This is my third time seeing computer chess. I still don't know what to make of computer chess.
Yeah,
But anyway,
this these two movies are interesting because this one maybe like I think one issue that you have with this movie, and that I think other people might have too, is that it does tell you a lot of stuff, right? Like you were saying, right? Um,
yeah, polar
and
opposite.
computer chess
Polar
doesn't
opposite.
tell you anything.
No, computer chess is like, all right, here you go. This is what's happening. Figure
Yeah,
it out, buddy.
yeah. Um, but
Maybe computer chess is the missing chunk of Chuck's life. Maybe one of these side characters is Chuck, and he
yeah,
secretly he lost his lust for dancing, and he started being a computer chess nerd.
yeah, totally. Or maybe the computer chess shit for these people is their dancing, right?
Mm,
That's their thing
yeah,
they need to be doing.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't have too much more to say about the. I'm glad that I'm
yeah,
finally able to talk about it on the podcast.
yeah.
I'm bummed. I hope that me overhyping it wasn't too much of a factor,
No,
but
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think I'm gonna be real. The voiceover and that first act, I was just a little. It
mm,
kind of threw me. I didn't connect with it, and then so there were like good parts, and I think there are like interesting elements to it. And like as obviously there's a lot that's open to interpretation. It has interesting themes. It was just that there were like certain choices that just didn't work for me, and I think even if you had just been like, "Oh, I saw this movie, The Life of Chuck. It was good. Check it out." And that's all you told me. I think I still would have had this pretty much the same reaction.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um,
It's just that now I had to record a podcast with you where I'm like, I didn't like your favorite movie that much. So it's a little like
that's okay.
the people pleaser aspect is like, oh man, Ryan's gonna hate me after this because I didn't like the
No,
movie. Oh geez.
no.
I have to
Movies are
be honest.
subjective. Art is subjective. Um,
Exactly.
yeah,
And
totally.
I can't
And
come in here and be like, I love the life of Chuck. Oh my gosh. The
yeah,
voiceover, so great. I can't do
no,
that.
no. Art is subjective. You're allowed to not like my favorite movie of all time, even if it
Yeah.
means this is the last podcast episode.
It's over.
Yeah, no. Also, yeah, like I said, not actually my favorite movie of all time, but it has certainly grown the ranks for me. So
It's probably the movie you've seen the most.
I still might have seen Scream more times just because that's like
Oh
a
yeah.
Halloween like,
Yeah.
but it's certainly up there. Yeah, I can't actually think of anything other than Scream that would compete. So yeah,
Hmm. What about Scream
um,
2?
nope.
All right.
The only other one,
Scream
I
4.
Scream 4 I alternate with Scream on like the Halloween watch. Halloween
Hmm.
I watch a lot on Halloween, obviously the
Right.
original. Like there's some iconic ones that I've seen quite a few, and I've seen The Shining quite a lot. Um, yeah, 2001. It's funny I haven't seen nearly as many times.
Hmm.
Uh, I've probably only seen 2001 maybe three times, two or three.
Yeah. But
But
Live a Chuck 6 times in under a year. That's got to
yeah,
be
it's a lot. And I'll tell you what, it's going to go up.
nice. Hey, there you go. It's a lot of
Yeah,
Chuck.
that's a lot of Chuck. My goal is, this is outrageous. This is not actually a goal of mine, but my fiance was making a joke because my review this time around. Which, by the way, if anyone wants to, you can follow me on Letterboxd. Shane and I, both of our things are linked on the Mind Your Movies podcast Letterboxd, so you can go there, click on our links, follow us there. But my most recent review for this, I'm on my sixth review. I've written quite a bit on a couple of my reviews. This time I wrote 29 great years because it was my 29th birthday. So
Yeah, there you go.
so Kim said before my 39th birthday, I've got to try to watch it 10 more times. No, I've got to try to watch it 39
39.
times. So
Oh my gosh.
I can say 39 great
Wow. So you need
times.
to watch it 33 more times within the next 10 years.
Yeah.
So if you watch it, that's only 3.3 times a year. It's not that. That was the easiest math of all time. But yeah, that's pretty doable. Once a
Yeah.
quarter. You're like, all right, April's about to end. I got to get my quarterly Chuck in.
The hardest thing will be not watching it another time.
Yeah, you're gonna hit like 39 like next year. You're gonna be like, I can't watch Chuck again. What the? Yeah,
No, yeah.
that's pretty sick.
Um,
I kind of want to have like I don't when I watch movies, just the way I watch movies, I usually am like I'm sitting down and I'm watching the movie.
mhm.
I'm rarely like throwing on a movie in the background and I'm doing laundry and I'm popping in and out like and maybe that's just a
Mm.
like byproduct of how I don't know. I feel like there are so many movies I haven't seen
Oh
that if
yeah.
I'm watching a movie for the first time, I'm definitely going to want to be like paying attention. Um, but like Life of Chuck could become a movie where you kind of are like, oh, I got some laundry to do today. And you just throw on Chuck in the background. And like, I kind of want a movie like that. I feel like my closest would probably be The Big Lebowski just because I kind of
Yeah.
know it like the back of my hand. So I could definitely like throw it on and like, oh yeah, this is this scene. And then if I go pop out and make a sandwich or something. It's like, but I feel like I just don't watch
Yeah.
movies in that way. I feel like a lot of other people do, but I think I'm a little too like, I don't want to miss anything, you know?
I think I'm, on a rewatch, I'm more, open to maybe stepping out for a minute or something. But
Yeah.
but generally, I just rewatched Shutter Island actually,
Mm.
showing it to my fiance for the first time. And I was like so enthralled. I couldn't be doing something else, and I think
Yeah.
that's obviously when there's a really good movie that'll happen.
Right.
But and then the other
But
thing is commentaries. I'll throw on a
oh
commentary
yeah,
and like, be doing dishes or laundry and stuff, all in the same room, but like um you know,
it's almost a podcast experience kind of.
yeah. And then sometimes they'll reference something and you'll like quickly look over so you can see what they're talking about. But usually they're not even like actually talking about stuff that's on the screen. Not usually, I guess, but in a lot of my experiences with commentaries, they're more talking about the experience of making it. And then once in a while they'll be like, oh, this scene, blah, blah, blah. Right. And so
Yeah.
that's definitely one time that I do it. It's funny, the Life of Chuck, I really haven't done that with because even with the commentary, I was like so enthralled. And most of my rewatches have been showing it to new people. And
Hmm.
it'd be hilarious to be like, guys, we got to watch this movie. I'd love it. And then just like be on your phone the whole time.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's pretty lame if you do that.
but yeah, so I think that maybe, you know what, if you want to look at the ones you have, right? Throw on something with the commentary while you're doing something else. That's
Mm.
kind of
Yeah, yeah. I just don't gravitate toward commentaries either for whatever reason. I've only like watched a few movies with the commentary.
well, there's your overlap. Commentary when you're not caring as much about the thing.
Yeah, yeah, that could work. That could work. But yeah,
Anyways, yeah.
I don't know what other movie. Maybe Point Break. Oh, that would be a good one to just like throw on. Just have Point Break. Point Break should just play. Like I should have a screen like strapped to my back, and it's just Point Break playing all the time. And I can
Yeah.
just like I'm driving, and I can just be like, Utah, give me two. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, it's that scene. And it's like, oh, they're robbing the bank, and then I just crash and die. Um, die watching Point Break. Or like, I want to rewatch Speed anyway. I'm just yapping now. Speed
Yeah.
is so sick.
No, I mean, like it is interesting now to have, and it's funny because this movie and Frogman in the past, like
Mm.
in the past like 2 years have like become attached to my identity, partly because
Yeah.
of them being kind of obscure but new releases where I'm like suggesting
Mm.
them to people, and like they both Frogman came with this like frog sound CD that I listened to. Anyways, that's a whole
All
different
right.
story.
Hold on.
But
Is it music or is it ambient frog noises?
it's well, it's narrated frog noises. So the guy will be like, it's like a nature thing where he's like, "This is the wild tree frog," and then you'll
Oh.
hear burp, 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 and then you'll hear that for like a minute, and then it'll be like, "This is the Fowler's toad, accompanied by trills of the wild tree frog in the background," and you'll hear ribbit, ribbit. um,
Oh yeah, that's
and so,
cool.
but I bought this
So
like special
when do you
edition
listen
version.
to that?
I used to put it on in the car.
Oh yeah.
Kim did not like to go anywhere with me. When we were going somewhere, Kim would always want to drive.
Yeah.
Um, but
Imagine you
so
just put like a couple tracks on like a sex playlist. And
yeah,
just like
mind if I play some white noise?
yeah, you're going to sleep. You're like, oh, time to listen to the the frog CD.
Yeah, no, but seriously, if anyone like look up Fowler's Toad, by far the
Mm.
best frog noises. But
We'll have to do Frogman again. Those
yeah,
are very like those movies are like those are Ryan movies.
yeah, but see, that's the thing. It's like it's interesting that those became so attached to my identity. Frogman, it's really I think because of that CD, right? I bought the special edition that had the CD in it, and
And
I
also,
was
no
like,
one else has heard of Frogman.
right. But also, I was like, I was so amazed. I was like baffled why this thing came with a soundtrack. And so I put it
Mm.
on, and because it's like a found footage movie, there's no music for a soundtrack.
Yeah.
There's actually like one song that's on there, which is cool. But for the most part, it's those frog noises. And then but then the collector's edition also came with the shorts that Anthony Cousins, the director, has made, and they're really cool. So I've shown those to people. So it's kind of similar to the Life of Chuck, become this thing where I'm like, it comes up in conversation somehow all the time. And like, because everyone, like, I end up with all this frog stuff. Like, if I reach around, like, near me right now,
There are
I'm thinking, there's like frog stuff
frogs
all over my
everywhere.
room because
You're turning into the Frogman.
people like when they don't know what to give me, I just get I get frog stuff. And so,
Mm.
not when they don't know. Sorry, uh, that sounded
It's
in
something that can they
right.
think
It's
of
like a
to get you.
nice right. They see something with a frog and they're like, Ryan will like this, and I love that. I do like them. Right, I think they're all great. And but so it's funny that like in the past 2 years, really no movie has ever been attached to my identity that hard. Like maybe
Mm.
Scream beforehand because
Mm.
really
Yeah.
Halloween I wanted to watch Scream.
Yeah. Scream was yeah, that makes sense.
But so it is funny that like these have kind of become, and so as a result, like I've seen Frogman maybe 3 times, and it's only been out for maybe a year, 2 years, right? 2 years. And so it is funny that like these have become kind of attached to my identity in a way that like I, I'll end up watching both these movies plenty more times,
Mm.
even though Frogman I've never even given 5 stars. Although I think the next time I just
I
have
mean,
to.
come on. You're the Frogman.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
like it is funny. It's one of those things where like next time I watch it, I'm almost obligated. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's also a sequel, Frogman
Oh,
2, coming out.
nice.
So
Nice. That'll be cool.
it's in Film Fest right now.
I'm still waiting. Those are also movies where I was like, I should watch these at some point, but then I'm like, well, they're gonna get picked.
Yeah,
Frogman has to get picked at some point.
yeah. See, I wasn't
Also,
gonna pick Frogman for you for this one because it's found footage. I was trying to pick.
right.
I thought The Life of Chuck. It's like, well, I thought it'd be a little bit more up your alley, but
That makes sense. That makes sense. Not a big found footage guy, and I kind of tried to pick Computer
yeah,
Chess because there is a found footage element. It's not really found footage, but I mean, kind of is, kind of not. It's kind of weird. It's like half found footage kind of thing. But was would you say frogs were your favorite animal before watching Frogman?
no, but not only because of watching the movie, but because of that CD. They are, yeah. I mean, I
They're
can
your favorite animal now.
I actually do like legitimately want to go and like listen to frogs and try to identify them.
Can
Like
you
people
can
go like bird watching.
yeah.
frog like listening or like identifying like is an
Mhm.
actual thing that people do, and I would love to go somewhere and do that, but
There
we
you
don't
go.
live in the most productive place for that.
There is I don't know if you could do it at the place I'm thinking of, but I can tell you a place. But I don't know
Yeah,
if you could do it there. But anyway, I've never tried to do it, so I have no idea. But so can you have a pet frog? Is that like a potential future for you?
that is a potential future.
How does owning a pet like how much space do they need?
I haven't looked too much into it.
Hmm.
My understanding is that they don't actually need a huge amount of space, and their food source is not too hard, right? It's like, kind of what you would feed like uh, a lot of different amphibious animals that you might own, right? Uh,
Like flies, right? Probably.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like I think you can give some of them crickets and stuff like that, right?
Hmm.
Um, and so I
Like
think that
depending on
the
size. Some frogs are
yeah.
small.
Oh, but I would want a big guy.
Oh, you want like a toad?
I would want, yeah, like I was saying, Fowler's toad, right?
Oh,
So
those are big. I don't know what
those
a
guys are.
Fowler's toad is, brother. I'm not a frogman.
I'll send you a link.
Okay.
um,
I'm almost picturing a small, perhaps like it's like dark green with white spots on it, and it's like small and slimy looking, and it's one of those kind of frogs like you'd find in like the Amazon rainforest. That's what I'm picturing as a frog.
okay. So toads are generally not slimy. Those are
Right.
frogs.
They're a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
more lumpy and no, I know the difference between a frog and
Oh,
a
okay.
toad. But that's
Sorry.
kind of what I was thinking of as I'm not, I mean, I might be dumb, but I'm not that dumb. But I was picturing like one of those small little slimy frogs, you know?
Yeah. This guy is a big guy. Big guy,
Mm.
giant neck.
Oh, the
Yeah.
one that bulges.
Yeah.
Oh,
when he does
hey.
his screech thing, it goes.
Oh boy. You want one of
So
those in your home?
I don't know if I would actually want that guy, but I do want a
Okay.
big guy. Yeah.
Interesting. So the big guys you'd imagine would need more space because they're bigger, but in reality, they're probably not as mobile as
Yeah.
the smaller guys.
Yeah. And I think the smaller guys, I think you're supposed to have a couple of them.
Oh,
I
okay.
think they're kind of like
A little
unhappy.
colony.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. They want to, I don't know. I could also listen, if anyone out there wants a frog, don't take my advice. I have no idea.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do
I'm just
actual
saying my
research.
assumptions, right? Like, please do some research before you get any type of animal. And
Yeah.
I would do that too, right? I have not done that yet, really. So, um,
Yeah.
the reality is, we're like, I'm not getting an animal. We live in an apartment in the city right now, right?
But I would say a frog that could exist in a tank, depending on how big it is, would be ideal for an apartment in a city.
Yeah, I have thought about my school that I work at. Um, if anyone listening is a student of mine, first of all, you should probably not be watching my podcast. Second of all, turn it off for a moment here. Spoilers, right? But I would love, our school used to have a pet lizard, and I would love to get a
Mm.
pet toad. Um, and so I don't, but I, taking care of like having the school pet was always a kind of a thing, right? Um,
I feel like it
and
was a thing before it was never a thing in my childhood.
no, I mean, like at our school, it was always like
Oh,
a kind of a
oh, oh.
big thing to someone had to take care of it, and like over
Right.
breaks, people would have to take it somewhere and
It's like
stuff.
a
So
different kid is taking it like each week type of a thing.
yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly, right? One of my coworkers kind of mostly took care of them, and I'm not sure exactly how involved that was, but like, I don't know if I really want to do all that work, but it would be
Hmm.
kind of cool. So
It could be, as long as you trust these kids to take care of the animal.
yeah, well, my co so Dustin can tell me at some point if Dustin was our biology teacher that took care of Pouncer pretty much, and I
He was
think
a
Pouncer had some pretty tough medical conditions. Dustin,
oh,
let me know.
jeez.
Was that because of the kids? I don't know.
Oh
So
boy.
so let me know.
Oh boy. This is like the Adam Sandler movie, Leo.
I've
Did you
never
ever see that?
no.
It's Adam Sandler plays a lizard and his name is Leo and it's an animated movie. Uh to be clear. Uh his name is Leo and he's like a class pet lizard. And then I think he maybe escapes or something like that and it's a family movie and then whatever. It's on Netflix. Um it'd be there's actually like a director's cut with Leo, and it's actually a biopic of Leonardo DiCaprio, but the lizard plays Leo. Yeah. Um, on to computer chess.
Yeah. Well, so let's just give our ratings real quick for the Life of
Oh yeah,
Chuck.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think mine's not a surprise. I've given this movie 5 stars a bunch of times now.
Oh, I'm shocked. I know you saw my rating. I gave it 2.5 stars.
That's all right.
A mixed bag. I liked some elements. Some elements didn't work for me, so I gave it a 2.5.
Yeah, that's all right. It happens. Um, yeah, I
Also, one of our biggest disparities here. This is up there with King Ghidorah. I think
yeah.
2.5 uh like point differential is our highest ever because
Mm.
well Nosferatu was a 2, you gave it a 4.5, I gave it a 2.5. But this I think King Ghidorah you gave a 4.5.
And you might have just given it 2 or let me look
I
real
think I
quick.
gave it 2. Yeah. And then there might have I think that was the biggest point differential. You have
Yeah.
it. Do you have this data?
Um, I don't.
Okay, that's fine. But yeah. Well, do you have the rating recap for
For well,
Life
so
Chat?
King
Oh,
Ghidorah. Yeah, I gave it 4.5. You gave it. Let's see. You gave it 2. So yeah, so this is the same differential here. Um,
I
but
will say this movie is just certainly better than the Ghidorah. The was it Ghidorah the three-headed monster? Was that what it was called?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is just a better movie as far
yeah,
as quality.
yeah. According to both of us, it's half a star better.
Yeah, there you go. I think that's a. I would say maybe 3/4 of a star.
That's just mean.
If it wasn't for the voiceover, it'd be at least a full star better.
You know what? Whatever. Um,
Uh,
but yeah, I didn't do the full rating recaps for these
that's fine.
ones
That's
because
fine.
of
That's fine. It's
because we
not a
had
full
2 and
episode.
I'm lazy. But I can say this one has a 3.7 on Letterbox. So um yeah, there you go.
There you go. And it also has a 7.3 on IMDb.
So in
So
that same range, yeah.
yeah, 67 Metacritic. So around that 7-ish range.
Yeah. So
All
time
right.
for
So I have to say, I have no idea what you thought of computer chess. When I chose this, I had a few options, and I was looking on your watch list on Letterboxd, and I saw there was, I think Akira was on there, Seconds, the John Frankenheimer movie, several movies that I have given 5 stars, movies that I love. And I was gonna go with one of those. And then I thought, well, they're already on his watch list. He already knows about them. I mean, Akira, I'm picking Akira at some point. Like it's getting picked. So let me pick something a little more obscure. And then I found computer chess and it had a found footage element and sort of a weird experimental filmmaking style. Thought that would appeal to you. Also, 91 minutes, almost right on the 90-minute dot. If you take out the credits, it's under 90 minutes. So there you go. And I remember quite liking computer chess, but not like this is not like a 5 star movie for me. But I thought it would be, I don't know. I thought it had some elements that would appeal to you. And then I watched it again. This is now my third time seeing it. I remember the first time I saw it, I was kind of confused and did not know what to make of it. The second time I saw it, I liked it more. I think I understood its vibe a little bit better. I think I watched it the second time probably in college when I was into chess. I still played chess a little bit, but in college I was more studying chess and learning and like when you're learning a new hobby, you're kind of more invested in it, whereas now I kind of just like play a game of chess on my phone here or there. But and I think I was more able to connect with it and its weird tone. And then watching it this time, I was almost went back to my original experience of being mostly confused and a little bewildered at what was going on. And yeah, it's a strange movie. It's very offbeat. I think offbeat is the right way to describe it. It's almost without rhythm, which kind of makes sense for these computer chess nerds. They're socially awkward. They're a lot of them are non-actors and like their kind of wooden stilted acting actually kind of works because they're these like awkward characters anyway. So it kind of like works in a weird way, but the whole movie just and a huge thing of this movie is that it was shot on like tube video camera from 1969. It's set in 1980, I believe, but it's shot on a Sony AVC 3260. So even though the movie came out in 2013, so the look of the movie is extremely lo-fi. It's black and white except for
Mhm.
one tiny scene, and then yeah, it's a unique, weird thing, and I guess we're gonna talk about it. I have no idea what you thought of it. I feel like you could have hated this, and I feel like you could have loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely a movie I think that would that would encapsulate I it's a strange movie. Um
Yeah,
the movie is really weird.
it's
And
almost completely plotless.
yeah, yeah. And there were times when I was very bored because of there not really being a plot, and I was like, okay, I don't, but there was also times I was just so into the arts, the style of the filmmaking. There's like they do a split screen at one point, which was really interesting. They do a lot of like
Yeah,
actually interesting filming techniques. And they have like an ultra low shot of a hallway that makes it look super liminal, and then an ultra high shot of the same hallway right away that also, so lots of really interesting things they do. It's also made on like a tiny tiny budget, right? Really
yeah,
interesting. Again, like you said, the actors, even though they're really bad at acting, that kind of works here. So I think there was so much interesting stuff to me that it balanced out the stuff that I didn't like pretty well. I think oddly, I think there's enough scenes that I would have trimmed a little bit off of, and I could have enjoyed this if it was 80 minutes. But I did enjoy it quite a lot. I so to I'll give the actual rating later, but I would say in that range of did I hate it or did I love it, I would definitely lean on the loving it part. I think
all right.
the being bored sometimes was okay with me, because there was other times where I was just laughing out loud and I was so into it, and like just totally into it. So I think
Yeah,
balanced.
nice. That's good. I think I also on my previous viewing like did find it pretty funny, and this time I the humor wasn't hitting for me. I don't know if I just wasn't in the right headspace or
Mm.
like I don't know, it just wasn't hitting as much. Um so yeah, I also definitely found it to be kind of boring at parts. But I think liminal is a good way to describe it too. Like that with these sequences I mean, we haven't even described the movie at all. It's just a computer chess tournament in 1980. So this is before computers were good enough at chess to beat human beings. So there's one grandmaster who's sort of like hosting this tournament, and all these computer programming nerds have programmed their computers to play chess, and they will play against each other. And then the champion will play against the grandmaster and see if human or machine wins. Um,
Yeah.
and that's the premise. We're just at the hotel for the entire movie, basically, and there are some kooky characters. There's another sort of weird hippie conference thing going on at the hotel at the same time, which is a interesting contrast to the chess thing. But yeah, that's kind of it. And it's a lot of just the interactions with the characters, uh, and the specifics of the tournament, a lot of the scenes.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of like, actually, when we had our Robert Altman episode, not to compare this, that those I'm just gonna say real
No,
quick, I shouldn't maybe compare necessarily to Robert Altman
I
here, but
no, I think this is like in that lineage. Like, so Andrew Bujalski, the director, is like a mumblecore
mm,
director. I feel like mumblecore does kind of is maybe
yeah.
a descendant of Robert Altman in the overlapping dialogue, the very naturalistic feel, and the
Mhm.
sort of like loose filmmaking. Obviously, mumblecore is a lot lower budget and not as like polished and probably like well made as most of Robert
Right.
Altman's movies. But I think there are elements that I see the connection.
Yeah, and so I mean that's really what I parts of it I was kind of latching onto right away was the overlapping dialogue. At one point, I put on subtitles and I got more confused, so I turned off subtitles because, because I
Yeah.
was it was unclear whose subtitles were what, and then I just got more confused trying to read and watch. So I was like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna be here for the thing," you know.
Yeah.
And and so there's a good portion of the movie that like I just straight up didn't know what people were saying at times, particularly towards the beginning, because it didn't help that like I couldn't identify the characters yet necessarily on like who was who. And there was like a decent amount of overlap in those earlier scenes when you're kind of setting up the conference and like setting up the characters. And also like anytime that uh there's like one female coder, one
Mhm.
female computer programmer here, and any time that she's brought up, or any time that like they're talking about the conference at all, the main guy's like, and it's great that we have a female computer programmer here, and
Yeah.
I think that's
Our
awesome. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, he's like, this is our first woman coder ever at the tournament, and
Yeah.
that's great. Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
like, and so he'll like interrupt the conversation to say that at times. And so there's like,
Yeah, they'll be like, this is the team with the girl coder. Yeah.
yeah. And so that overlapping could be a little confusing, but I think it also just, yeah, it felt kind of natural in a way. Like this is also just how people actually, not that this movie actually portrays normal interactions all the time, but the overlapping dialogue and kind of the naturalistic feel are interesting in that way. Um and then there's some really weird stuff that you could never like. There's the swinger couple.
Yes, which toward the end of the movie, yes.
Yeah.
They're in sort of this new age hippie free love group that's also at the hotel.
Yeah.
And yeah, that scene is extremely uncomfortable. But also
Yes.
like I feel like the movie is extremely realistic, but to the
Hmm.
point where it's like this is almost how boring real life can be and how interactions really are in some ways.
Yeah. Yeah. And in some ways, with like the sort of loose plot, the kind of bouncing between characters and plot lines, and kind of the also with like the naturalistic feel and everything. It also in some ways reminded me a little bit of like some French New Wave stuff. Not that like again, I mean, yeah, because those are also really low budget and stuff too. So I think like it had some of that aesthetic that I really liked. So
Hmm. It's like a low energy. It's like French New Wave on a Xanax.
yes, yeah, yeah, especially towards the end when
Yeah,
yeah.
that's like you're like nodding off on the Xanax a little bit. Things are getting a little
Whoa.
weird. Yeah,
Yeah,
you don't know what's going on. You're in and out of dream states.
yeah, you get jolted awake and
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So yeah, there's definitely I think you can see a lot of the influences of the movie, or that made the movie, right? And I did really appreciate the aesthetic. I really appreciated the like handheld lo-fi aspect of it. And also at times it was found footage, and at
right.
times it wasn't.
Yeah,
And at times I wasn't sure.
yeah, yeah. It's very loose with that and like what is supposed to be the found footage and what is not. And so yeah, that is. I don't know. I don't know how much of that works. Like I feel like you could commit one way or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it definitely left me a little confused, but I did really appreciate a lot of the stuff they did when it wasn't found footage.
Yeah.
That
There
they
are
couldn't,
some,
yeah, and they couldn't have done it found footage. Some of those things. So
yeah, unless they're kind of like explaining that this guy is trying to, well, no,
mm,
because like the scene with the swingers is like, why would he be in the room with it during this scene? Like, yeah, there are certain things that don't work if it's found footage, really.
yeah. So I think I think like I did appreciate the aesthetic either way, and I
Right.
think ultimately, like towards the end, I was thinking, was it only found footage in the moments when it's during the competition. And so I'm not really sure. Maybe if I rewatched it, I could make more sense. But it sounds like on the third watch, maybe not.
No, it's never really clear because the found there's nothing delineating the
Yeah.
found footage and the non-found footage really. Like obviously there are times where it's clear that it's not found footage, but when it is like you can't really tell the difference because it's all shot on the same camera.
Hmm.
So I feel like if in most movies that would use that kind of thing, it would be like this looks like a normal movie. It's shot on either film or like high quality video. And then when it's found footage, it's like crummy digital video, and you can tell it's like a handheld camcorder. So it's very obvious.
Yeah.
If like a different movie was using that, making that choice of switching between like it's sort of like diegetic footage and non-diegetic footage almost. So yeah, it's pretty unclear. But but yeah, I feel like the movie it has a very dreamy vibe. Like the images, it's all black and white, and it's very soft focus on everything, and like it feels. I think liminal is a good word. Like everything feels a little off. Everything doesn't feel like a real hotel. It doesn't feel like even the interact like none of it really feels real. It kind of just has a weird vibe to it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so much to the point where like at times it feels like this there's this one guy who like didn't get a room somehow in this hotel.
Yeah, Papa George.
Yes. And so he's like essentially drifting in the
Yeah.
hotel.
Yeah,
And
he's drifting from room to room and getting kicked out and locking himself out. And there's cats. There's cats in the hotel. I don't know what.
right.
There's never any explanation of the cats.
Yeah, the person at the desk lets him eventually into one room and he opens the door and has a ton of cats and he sneezes and closes it and then he ends up is he sleeping in the stairwell afterwards or something?
At one point, I think he sleeps in a stairwell. He also sleeps in the conference room, and
Yeah.
then that's when
Oh yeah,
the
that's the one after the
hippies,
cats.
yeah, the hippies come in, and then he's sort of does this strange rebirthing ritual or something.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of and the hippies. Speaking of things feeling both very real and also very liminal and like whatever. Look, they're like the first time we see them, it doesn't explain what's happening obviously. And so the first time it's like it's a cutaway from it might have been like a nighttime scene when people are talking in one of the bedrooms. Yeah, they're talking about like the rise of AI or whatever, right?
Yes, with the conspiracy theorists.
Yeah. And then it cuts away into these people in one of the conference rooms and they're like touching each other weird and like then eventually you see them with bread and they're like putting their hands in like it's a whole loaf
Yeah.
of bread. They're just like squeezing their hands inside of it with a partner, right? Like whatever between their legs and stuff. And it's so strange. And then it's there's a little bit of explanation, right? I think like the chess people come in or something and get the room or whatever. But then it's explained that like there's this overlapping conference. But when you first start seeing that stuff, you're just like, what the hell is going on?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. And I think with all these like weird characters, if and the super low budget, I think Slacker, Richard
Mm-hmm.
Linklater's first movie, and Clerks, Kevin Smith's first movie, like those both feel like movies that this is almost similar to, but this is like a more low key, like offbeat, strange version. I guess Slacker is kind of strange, but Slacker, you're switching from character to character so often, and like it's quite like I don't know. I feel like the conversations are pretty engaging and they're strange, but they're funny and it's a lot more. It's faster paced, and you're going to different locations and it's in color. Uh, and then Clerks has a similar like black and white lo-fi
Mm-hmm.
look, but also it's raunchy and uh, laugh out loud hilarious. This is a little more just awkward, but I feel like those movies are also similar with the way that there are all these various characters and they're kind of just almost floating here and there. And yeah, this one's just a more low-key downbeat version, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really yeah, I mean it's really something because I I think at the end, because of all those things, you kind of don't know what to make of it. Uh
Yes. And
yeah,
then the very ending has very
right.
strange things where one of the guys is talking to his, I guess the flashback of him talking to his AI, and the AI is like talking back about like what is us, where are our souls, where what is a soul and stuff like this. And it's sort of like kind of questions like, are these uh is this not just a program? Is this a sentient mind? Is this a consciousness, a soul inside of this, like, or something? Uh, and it's kind of never really explained at all. It's just kind of a uh, weird scene. Um, and then we see like, oh yeah, in that same scene, it shows like an image of like a womb, and it almost looks like a demon or something in the womb.
Yeah, I just saw the ultrasound and like I was like, "Oh, I don't it looks like maybe an ultrasound." I don't like
It
yeah.
is an ultrasound, but it almost looked like it had like a creepy demonic face to me.
Oh,
Maybe that
yeah.
was me just seeing that in the ultrasound because it's kind of quick.
You totally could have. Yeah, because it's so quick and also I'm like I look at an ultrasound and I'm like there's a baby in there.
Yeah.
Sure. So I just kind of was like,
I I
"Okay."
I, I could be over interpreting just some blobs because it's kind of hard to tell what's going on.
It's a
Uh
Rorschach test on how you feel about AI.
yeah, yeah, right. And then like they they at the end the AI, which is sort of like this funded by the deep state or something, perhaps, it beats the Grandmaster, and the Grandmaster did not expect that. And Pete, I think Peter is the sort of the main character's
Yeah.
name. He's this kind of awkward guy. He's the one who gets um propositioned by the hippie swinger couple to have some sort of a strange threesome thing, and he kind of just gets the hell out of there. He like there's like a hooker,
Yeah.
apparently, and he like brings her back to his room, and then she turns out to be a robot,
Yeah.
and then uh we get a shot like a found footage shot pointing at the sun, and then the movie ends, and we see a lady singing a song over the end credits, and it just ends,
Yeah.
and it's like, what was that?
And I'll tell you what, this whole final section here, also there's a point when Peter learns or starts to think that that his computer program uh doesn't want to play against computers. It's like
Right,
purposefully sabotaging computer based games, but when it's playing against a human, it'll make the right moves.
right.
And from that point to the end, I was actually that was my favorite part of the movie.
Mm,
I was like, I didn't understand everything, but I was like, there was none of those boring moments when the movie just kind of went on for too like the scenes went on for a little bit too long and stuff towards the front and middle section a little bit.
yeah,
And so that whole final act, I guess it's weird to talk about acts in this movie. I feel like,
yeah.
but that whole final act, really, I think I was like on the edge of my seat. I was like, whoa. And I also wasn't sure if like, all this talk about the conspiracy and then the this guy's robot or AI actually wants to play against humans, so it's more sentient than we thought maybe. And then the guy talking in the bar about the sentient robot and the womb thing, and then all this stuff. And so I was like, what is about to happen, right? And um then the robot, and I was like, whoa. Because also, didn't we see Papa George or whatever go somewhere with the
Yes,
yeah.
he brings her back to a room or something like that. Or
So
yeah.
did he figure out about this too, right? Like
Hmm.
I don't know. So I was like, at the end, I was like, holy fuck, cool.
Yeah. And maybe there is some sort of this is the beginning of an artificial intelligence takeover.
Yeah. It's also interesting that this is in 2013,
Hmm.
and it feels like a movie that would be made like today with all the AI stuff that's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, this is before the AI sort of
Yeah.
boom.
It feels both like a movie that'd be made today and a movie that'd be made in 1980. Like
Yes.
it has this kind of ethereal or ephemeral like positioning where you can kind of see this in really any time.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's kind of liminal
Yeah.
between spaces. Doesn't have,
Yeah.
but yeah, it does feel like it's almost like it feels very like the time period feels very authentic.
Yeah.
And obviously they're in this limited space and they're using the technology for the aesthetic of it, and it feels completely authentic. Like it doesn't feel like 2013 at all to me.
Right. No, I agree. I would not have guessed 2013. I would have guessed either more recent because of the AI stuff,
Yeah,
or much older because of the aesthetic.
yeah,
And they play off really well with again with like people being awkward, but also like the those glasses, right? The very iconic like nerdy glasses from the time period. People had pocket protectors, which like I still endorse today, but like most of my colleagues don't wear pocket protectors at the school, unfortunately. Um, and like people's outfits and everything, like it pretty much always looked like very convincingly 1980 or whatever. So
yeah.
and very nerdy 1980s people.
Yes, exactly. These guys are probably going home and playing Dungeons and Dragons or something. Very nerdy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
um,
But yeah, it feels very authentic. The just the way
totally.
it's made and everything. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what to make of the movie, really. I do really like the one color sequence
Hmm.
when Papa George brings one of the conspiracy guys, the guy with the long hair. He brings him to his mom's house to I think to get money because he owes them money for maybe for drugs, maybe they were
I
smoking
th-
weed, maybe.
I think he took pills. He said from them.
Oh, yes, he took pills. Yeah. So he's like gonna try to get them money from his mom because he probably lives with his mom and does not have a job, I assume. Uh, and like it's just this strangely edited and like very surreal sequence. It's the only color sequence, and the color is very vibrant uh, and yeah, Papa George is almost like he's looking for like the for something in the house, and he keeps going back and forth, and he gets like stuck in a loop, almost like the computers get stuck in a loop at one point right before that, and yeah, the grandmother is like trying to tell him about like the Bible, like the Book of Luke or something. It's
Yeah.
kind of unclear and like the audio is overlapping a lot there and you can't really tell what's going on. It's a very surreal and strange sequence. And yeah, I think that's the main way to describe the movie is surreal and strange. And I don't fully know what to make of it.
Yeah. And it's interesting that the only color sequence is also the only sequence not in the hotel area, right?
Yeah.
There's like shots from the outside of the hotel, but
Yeah.
nothing outside of that parking lot, certainly, right? Other
Yeah.
than that. So, you know, yeah, like I don't know why, but that's interesting.
Yeah.
Is
And
the hotel kind of this more liminal space, and so yeah, I don't know. Is it more
yeah.
trapped in time or something?
Yeah, and it's also separate from the computers and the artificial
Mm.
intelligence. So maybe that's like a factor of it being this is more real, and then in this is a more artificial, strange location, and the mom is more of a normal human. I don't
Hmm.
know.
Yeah,
I have no
yeah,
idea. I don't think this movie has clear answers. I have no idea.
yeah. I think this movie does have some interesting ideas
Yeah.
in terms of themes and plots and everything too. But yeah, I don't think it actually has resolution and plot too, right? I don't think it has resolutions. I think it just has, if anything, just more questions, right? Um
And vibes.
and vibes, yeah,
I think
aesthetic.
yeah, this is like a very vibe-based movie. Uh, so yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And this is a movie that like I don't think I would recommend to many people, but
yeah.
I really liked it. Like this is a movie that like I think yeah, you did a good job with this recommendation.
Nice.
Um yeah, partly because also I don't know if I ever would have found this movie, right, just randomly.
There you
Um
go. That's what I was thinking. I was like, Computer Chess probably doesn't even know. I think it only has like 19,000 views on Letterboxd, which is pretty low.
yeah.
Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty obscure relatively. I mean, it has like a Blu-ray release and it's streaming. It's on Tubi and I think like Canopy and Hoopla maybe.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
yeah, this is actually my first month. I've run out of tickets on Canopy.
oh
Which
wow, were you able to watch this or did
yeah, this was
you?
my
Oh, this
last
is
one. So
gotcha.
or no, this was my last one. I watched Shutter Island afterwards also.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, this month, not to sidetrack, but just because we've got to insert the Canopy. Listen, guys, go to your public libraries, right? Not just for books, right? They also have DVDs and all that stuff, but you can also get their free digital services like Canopy and Hoopla. This month on Canopy, Boston Public Library gives you 18 tickets on Canopy. So short films, right? More commercial films might use different amounts of tickets, but
You usually they're either two or four
yeah,
tickets, seems like. Yeah.
and a short film might be one, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
whatever. But so this month I watched Room 237, artificial intelligence or AI artificial intelligence, a short film called The Phone Call, a movie called Oddity from 2024. I watched Riders of Justice for the podcast,
Yeah.
Loving Vincent, also somewhat not really for the podcast, At Eternity's Gate for the podcast. We're all going to the World's Fair. Uh,
Whoa.
uh,
And computer chess.
and Computer Chess and Shutter Island, all from Canopy. I watched 10 things on Canopy this month
Wow.
um,
With 18 tickets?
with 18
Some of them must
tickets.
have been one ticket.
Yes, so the short
Yeah.
film and something else must have also. Or one of these might have been a free. Sometimes it has some unlimited viewing things. I wouldn't be
Oh, okay.
surprised if like Loving Vincent was an unlimited viewing one.
Oh, okay. Interesting. That's
But
cool that some of them are zero tickets.
yeah, so you know what? I'm out of tickets this month, guys, but I can still watch stuff for free on Canopy.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's got TV, it's got movies. So if we haven't convinced you yet somehow, you should go to your public library. Even if they don't have Canopy or Hoopla, they still have probably some amount of DVDs or whatever that you can look at. And that's another way for you to watch free movies. But they probably, hopefully, might have Canopy and Hoopla. And if they don't, you might be able to recommend that they get it too. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Cool.
All right, that's our featured ad segment that we don't get paid for because we
Yeah.
love the public libraries.
Yeah. I mean, it's an awesome resource that I think people like don't a lot of people don't even know about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. So
Um,
we'll
cool.
talk more about those
Should
things I
we
watched next week when we do our full episode. But yeah, so you can
Yeah,
see tons of stuff this month from Canopy. So
there you go. All right. Is there anything else we want to say about computer chess? It's a weird movie. It's very vibey. This is a movie. This is definitely a movie you could put on in the middle of the night, and you're like half falling asleep, half waking up, and you don't know what's going on. And
yeah,
it's yeah, it's a strange movie. I'm glad you liked it. And it is like completely unique. I think that's also part of the reason I wanted to pick it. Like that there's not quite anything that like obviously there are like the comparisons that we made like Clerks and Slacker and Robert Altman and other mumblecore things, but the aesthetic is so unique and then with the surreal touches, like it really is a one of a kind movie. So even though like there's I don't know, like it I just wish it kind of came together like for me. I think because the first time I watched it, I was quite confused, and then the second time I liked it more. I think on this, I was like, oh yeah, I really like computer chess. I'll probably like it even more this time. And then watching it this time, I was like, I don't know, maybe I've reached the ceiling of my personal connection to computer chess. I don't, yeah,
yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I think for me, the first time I really did enjoy it, and I'm like, I do want to watch it again, not right away. I think like this is if you like put this on and you like strap someone to a chair and made them watch this like all day, their
Clockwork
head
Orange
might,
style.
their head might like melt. You might melt them.
Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, if you played it on loop,
Yeah.
right, that would be yeah, they would lose touch with reality. They'd be mumbling things about artificial intelligence and they'd be like fingering loaves of bread. They'd be falling apart.
But I definitely want to rewatch
They
this at some
they
point.
they'd probably create like a whole universe in their head and then like die of in a
Whoa.
coma or something. Yeah.
Yeah, they'd think of one dance they did. Yeah.
They'd go full Chuck.
um
Never go full Chuck.
yeah, so I think, but my first time in, I was super into it. At times more than others, right? Like I said, there was some moments where I was just honestly bored, but I think it evened out for me to a 4-star rating. So
Whoa.
yeah,
Big four
so
star rating. Nice. I am gonna be honest, I gave it a 3 stars. I liked it. It's good, but I don't know. I just wish I knew what was going on a little more, you know?
yeah, after the third
Yeah.
time, you would hope that you would get,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I still watch it and I'm like, what's happening? What are these guys talking about? Oh man. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I guess that's not what the movie's about. It's probably more about the vibes and everything. Maybe if I went into it like understanding it as more of a sci-fi thing, and these are sentient artificial intelligence programs, and they're messing with them, and this is the start of the AI apocalypse. Maybe then, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know if that would make the rest of the movie make more sense, to be honest.
Yeah. I I don't know.
There's
Yeah.
also there's almost a what in a normal movie would become a budding romance between the one girl programmer and Peter, I think, kind of our main character type of a guy. I feel like he's the most
Yeah.
kind of the most normal. He's almost a cipher for the audience. We don't really know much about him. He's just awkward. So yeah, he in a normal movie there'd be kind of a romance there potentially, and in this movie they kind of just it just kind of ends and then nothing really comes of it.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, the movie I think is very much intentionally trying to like skirt any tropes or structure or anything.
Yeah, if you left this movie being like that was a good normal movie, you should probably stop
They
taking so much
they
LSD.
they've probably only seen The Holy Mountain. If
Yeah.
the only movie you've ever
Yeah.
seen is The Holy Mountain, you'd probably watch this and be like, "That was an interesting documentary."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Cool.
I thought it was interesting, definitely worth watching, and glad to have added it to an ever-growing list of mine of movies that are both watched and also on the watch list. Because there's some movies you
Oh,
watch
there you
it and
go.
you're like, you know what, I've got to watch that again at some point.
Yeah. Yep. I get that. I have a couple on there. Um, yeah, all right, cool. And no ratings recap. So that's it. Anything else you
Yeah.
want to say about computer chess or about anything?
Um, Let me just quickly look at my notes again for computer chess. No,
Y-
I can say, I'll say is it does have a 3.5 average on Letterboxd. So around the same average as The Life of Chuck, ironically. Not quite, but close.
a little lower,
A
which
little
makes
lower.
sense. There's
Much
just
less
definitely
seen, too.
yeah, less seen and also way less broadly appealing, I think. I think this is an extremely narrow group of people that would like computer chess.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so this is I guess that's the end of our discussion on these two movies. That's our birthday episode, but we
Yeah.
can make our reveal for our next episode real quick. So if anyone's just joining us for the first time because you're like, hey, I like these guys, let's listen to their birthdays. Kind of strange, but we don't judge. But but
Maybe
normally,
they're chucksters.
yeah, yeah, that's right. Maybe you're like a checker and you just yeah. And you just followed along for the computer chess. Maybe you're even inspired to watch it. But either way, our main episodes, we will pull a random category out of a cup that has all sorts of things from directors to genres to actors, all sorts of weird stuff, including the one that we pulled last time, which was movies based on TV shows that you have not seen. So then we spend a little bit of time thinking about it. And on our half episodes, that we do a whole range of things, top fives, new movies, birthday episodes, why not? Whatever. Then we reveal our picks. So
Yes. So, next week's episode for TV shows. Should I go first?
yeah, go for it.
I have chosen Batman Mask of the Phantasm.
Whoa.
I have never seen Batman the animated series. This is sort of a spin-off, like its own thing, but it's based on the Batman the animated series. The style, and Kevin Conroy does the voice of Batman. And yeah, Batman Mask of the Phantasm. This is just one of my favorite Batman movies, one of my favorite superhero movies. It comes in at a nice, crisp 76 minutes, which is fantastic. And it is also streaming on HBO Max. So there were a few options I had for this. Maybe I won't say till after, because what if one of you pick one of my options? But yeah, this movie is pretty awesome, and I'm glad to rewatch it.
This is hilarious because I picked the 1966 Batman the movie
Batman,
with
Batman
Adam West.
episode.
So yeah, I this is based on the 1960s Batman show starring Adam West, and it's a spin-off of that show. So my thought process, which is probably similar to yours, I was like, you know what, Batman is a comic book, so it's really based on a comic book, but also these ones are specifically spin-offs of their respective TV shows. So
Yes.
these are not actually based on comics; they're based on the show, kind of. So
Wow, awesome. I've never
that's
seen the
hilarious.
original 66 Batman. That's incredible that we both picked Batman. That's awesome. We did this another time, I feel like, where we had a topic and we somehow picked movies that were like related in another way. I don't remember
Yeah,
off the top of my head.
yeah,
But that's awesome. I
yeah.
I was thinking of other options, like The Fugitive is based on a
Uh-huh.
TV show. The Equalizer is based on a TV show. Widows, the Steve McQueen movie, that's also apparently based on, I think, a British TV show. And like I those were all serious contenders for me. I like all of those movies. The Fugitive, I don't even know. I think I saw it as a kid. I've certainly seen parts of it, like on TV and stuff, but I don't know. I feel like I've seen parts of it, and I've maybe seen the whole movie, like
Hmm.
on TV at various parts, but I don't know that I've ever actually watched the whole thing. And if I did, it was so long ago that I would like to rewatch it again. But Batman Mask of the Phantasm was so easily accessible because it's on HBO Max. I know we both have HBO Max, so I was like, this is and 76 minutes. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And
Um,
it's one of the best Batman movies, I think.
that's awesome. Yeah.
It's
So
pretty sick. Not to overhype it, not to chuck it, you know. But
the so I was like, you know what, the Adams family would be interesting. That could be like a
oh,
fun. And then I was also thinking 21 Jump Street is based on a TV
yeah.
show, and the directors, of course, just had you know, their huge, they're making a shit ton of money still on Project Hail Mary. So like, I was like, that could be
Yeah.
interesting to talk about. But then I was like, you know what? The OG Batman would be kind of neat, and it's like it's iconic. Why not? And
Yeah.
it is
Have you
also free. It's available for free. You can stream it on the internet, just on like YouTube
oh,
and stuff. So it's like you know, actually, I don't know if I should say this. I don't know if it's actually in the public domain, but it's certainly accessible,
interesting.
at
I
least
don't
while I'm saying that. So
yeah, all right.
yeah, it's 1966, so it's not in the public domain. I'm going to
No, I
say,
don't
but
think so. I feel like it's not, but I think it's not on HBO Max for some reason. So maybe it
yeah,
is like there's some weird rights situation with it. I don't know.
yeah. So,
Have you
well,
seen the 66 Batman movie or no?
no,
No. Yeah.
nope.
Damn, I've never seen the show either. So
Yeah.
this will be cool. I feel like quite different
Oh yeah.
interpretations of
Yeah.
Batman.
Yeah, but it'll be a funny that's funny. So our episode next week is actually like, I guess we can just call it like TV show spin-offs or something. TV
Sure.
spin-offs or something like that to
Based
keep it
on
short.
TV or maybe
Yeah. And
whatever.
but it's really also a Batman episode, which is
Yeah.
awesome. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Batman episode. And I wonder if I know DC is in
Yeah.
the cup. I'm not sure if Batman is. I don't think so. I think it's
Mm.
specifically DC. But yeah, Batman is my favorite superhero, by far. And yeah, so that's awesome.
And we've
And
talked about doing the Dark Knight trilogy as like a half episode at some point. Haven't we've talked about that, right? Or am I making this up?
yeah, yeah, we've talked about
Okay.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And we haven't done that yet, but we still could. So I mean, ah man, more Batman. Yeah.
Yeah, I would totally be down for that. It's just because I feel like the Batman, like the Nolan trilogy, is a little like it's kind of it feels like it's all one big thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to just cut like we
Right.
could just pick the Dark Knight for like like if we pulled Christopher Nolan, we could just pick the Dark Knight. But I feel like it makes sense to cover all three together. It's just
Yeah.
that I mean this we just covered two movies that are not these movies are like under 4 hours of movies. Those movies are probably 7 hours of movies, and it took us over 2 hours, I think. So that might be a longer episode. So, but at
Yeah.
some point we'll probably do it. I think that'd be fun.
That would be. That would be.
So
You know, and the
yeah, all right.
Odyssey will be coming up. So
Yeah, the Odyssey. Very sick. Yeah, we got a lot of good stuff coming out for our half episode. So subscribe if you're not subscribed. Stick around. We'll, subscribe on YouTube and the podcast apps. Give us 5 stars and like the video and all that. Uh, I guess our episode next week will be called Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Maybe I don't know what else we could call it.
Mask of the Batgasm.
Yeah, yeah. Batman, Bat, Matt,
Batman
Bat.
Mask of the Batman.
Batman Mask of the Batman. Yeah, that works. Bat yeah. Bat Batman Mask of the Phantasm 1966. Call it that. I feel
Oh
like
man.
we should do original Batman first, then Mask of the Phantasm second. I feel like that makes the most sense.
I think so, yeah.
All
This will
right,
be a lot
cool.
of fun.
Yeah, sick. What are the odds of that? Double Batman. Um, yeah, cool. All right. Well, stick around. We got some fun stuff. What's after that? Do we have something planned for our next half episode? I don't know. Anyway, if you subscribe and stuff, you'll figure it out in the future. So don't forget to buy your movies.